Other problem that brings us to with unsecure wireless hotspots, as we call them, is that the predators are using these wireless hotspots too. Bryce, as you know, that if you get on the internet and you do something nefarious online, you do something illegal, there's always a trail for that.
Sure.
There's the IP address. That's the social security number of the computer, that the network that got on there, and we can track that. Well, if somebody got out there and used an unsecure wireless network to do their business, then it would look as if that person that owned that wireless connection did the illegal activity. While it's easy, we have ways to be able to track even further, but the point being is that it's a vulnerability for the homeowner to leave an unsecure wireless internet. So as a solution to that, what my team did at the Internet Task Force is we actually produced 10 documents. They're free downloads to the internet, and they're on our internet website under our Consumer Security Alert Center. We chose the top 10 wireless internet routers on the internet, and we provided a 10-step, quick and easy way to secure your internet, and they're free downloads.
And they're on your
and
all's
they're on our
website.
website.
And again, we'll run that website at the bottom of our screen
Sure.
right now so we can get that.
And that's free. We use D-Link, Linksys, and all those other wireless internet devices. We provide
Belkin.
some quick steps. Belkin is on there. And a very bright young man wrote those for us, and we're proud to have them on our website free. So, you know, the internet is a very dangerous place, and I always like to think about a population as being good by nature, but 10% of that population is probably a bad element. And if you take a global population like the internet, how many, you know, millions and millions of people are online at any given point?
And people think they can hide.
And they have that anonymity factor. They think they can. But if you take 10% of a global population, that's a lot of people.
Sure.
I wouldn't leave Casey or Jessica in a room alone with 50 million known predators. You know, well, that's what you're doing if you don't take the steps necessary to block or protect your child online. You're leaving them in your living room with those predators right there. Easy access to your child.
And I know so many people don't actually think of that, Dave. And as you all are watching this program right now, whether you're switching around to channels or whatever you're doing right now, you know, we channel serve. These are some great tools that you can use. And Mom and Dad, we don't think about these things a lot of times. And I'm sure our young people wouldn't want you all watching this program because they're thinking that you're invading their privacy. But it's not. It's a safeguarding.
That's right. It's all about proactive work rather than reactive work.
Exactly.
And I, you know, one of the things that I recently had completed the computer investigators course up in Richmond at the Police Academy, and it's a great program. They've made incredible leaps and strides in that market to try to get the frontline officer educated about these types of things. And one of the aspects of this course that I really liked was the actual live lab that we did. And we actually set up undercover profiles for testing and went out there, and it wasn't 5 minutes since I had an undercover profile as a little girl out there that I had droves of people wanting to chat with me in the Yahoo chat groups and such. And it's amazing. It's almost like ringing a dinner bell for these guys out there. So you have to understand that if your child's going to create a profile, let's talk about that for a second.
And you know, Dave, as you say this, today, I know in today's news, as we talk about this today, there's been a gentleman that was arrested, and I guess I shouldn't call him a gentleman. He's a criminal that was just arrested today in another state for coming from, I believe, Kentucky and going to that other state because he lured an 11-year-old or 12-year-old to a motel area to have a relationship with this 11 or 12-year-old that was all done across the internet. You know?
And that happens a lot. They'll try to send money, gifts. They'll ask your child for pictures to send photos. They'll ask to send photos to your child. You know, when your child creates a profile on Facebook or MySpace, or even creating an email account like through Yahoo, which is a free email account, or Google or Gmail, you have to make sure that as a parent you sit down with them and enforce the parental rules. Each account has their own set of parental settings that you can enforce. You want to make sure that you enact those. For an example,
no pictures,
Facebook.
right?
Yeah, you can't see my profile unless you're a member, unless you're invited. Things like that. You have to be, a welcomed participant in my profile to be able to see it. don't allow for just generic public access to your profile. And a lot of times that is something that's overlooked in these things, and children are they're out there looking.
And they'll put everything in their profile.
Sure.
You know, things that we don't want people to
Sure,
know.
you have to be careful. I seen a young lady, an actual Hardin County resident, had a profile. I had done a lecture for another church group, and they approached me and said, what can we do to make our profile better? Well, I opened it up on a laptop and I looked at her profile and I said, well, you can see the name of her school behind her when she's standing there with her foot on the soccer ball. And I said, I can tell you exactly, as a predator, I know where to go shopping, right? So I know what school she goes to. I know what she looks like. I can say, have you seen this little girl? You know, I mean, it's a really big problem. You have to watch out what's in the background.
Sure.
Watch out putting names down. Schools. Do you go to 4-H? Are you in the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts or on the Cub Scouts? What are you doing? You have to watch what civic organizations you publish. You have to really watch the information you put out. Something that I do with everybody in my lectures is I always ask them to put their phone number in Google. Just enter your phone number into Google and press return, and you will see that it's likely your phone number is listed with an actual address and a map on how to even get to your house.
Exactly.
You can actually have that removed. You can request to have it removed for privacy reasons if you want, and they'll delete it from the registry. I think if you have children, you have to take those extra steps just as you would. You have to get to know their e-pals. If they've got friends that communicate with online, you have to sit down and say, you know, Casey, who is this person you're talking to? Well, that's my friend online. You have to take an interest as a parent in that friend just as you would as the friend they play with down the street.
Sure, sure. And you know, many times I know in teaching DARE, I have people or young people tell me all the time about chatting on Facebook and talking to different people. And I, you know, sometimes I ask them, do you know this person that you're talking to? And Dave, you know, 9 times out of 10 they'll say, no, I don't know this person. You know, and then I actually get worried for them. I'm thinking, hey, do your parents know? Have you told them that you're talking to this
And
person?
a lot of these kids think that well, I'm on the internet, nobody knows who I am.
Exactly.
And they feel that reverse anonymity that they think they may have, and it's like I said, if they get their phone number, now they have their address.
And they think it's an innocent conversation.
Sure. You know, a lot of times kids just feel like it's the safe sex of the internet, and you know, I think it's a dangerous practice to have if they're just not educated on what to watch out to say and to do. And you know, one of the things we talk about was sexting, I think, prior to our beginning of this session.
Again, with the invent of all the smartphones, I made sure mine was on vibrate before we came in here. But you know, when we look at all this technology with the phones, now with the texting and availability to send the pictures across as well, we have a lot of trouble with young people not texting but
sexting.
Exactly.
And
explain to some of these viewers, I spoke to a church not too long ago, people are shocked to know what this is all about.
Basically, there is a language unto itself on cell phones, and there's all kinds of abbreviations when they text each other back and forth, but it's basically a form of virtualized sex. They'll chat back and forth, they'll have really erotic conversations between each other. They'll ask them to do things to themselves, or you know, they'll just text this back and forth.
Can we go back to this just a minute? You talk about a language in itself. Is there anywhere, and of course we're talking about the internet now, is there somewhere where we can go to possibly download so that we might know this language, or parents can even download so that they can kind of see what this may or may not stand for?
Yes, absolutely. We have on our website too an acronym checklist that we have published out there. It's probably not 100% complete because every day these kids are creating new ways to abbreviate things. But a simple Google will tell you, you can just go in and just Google sexting acronyms, and it'll just pop up with a whole bunch of different places to get that information. Of course, Googling, you have to be careful what you type because you may not get what you're looking for.
Sure.
With anything. But, you know, talking about cell phones, cameras are a big problem on cell phones. Children don't realize, they'll say, well, send me a picture of yourself. And I've had children take pictures of themselves naked in front of a mirror and SMS that or MMS that over to their friend, and now their friend has it and it winds up on a Facebook account someplace.
Going everywhere.
And it goes everywhere.